best things about working with the Garrison brothers, Scott and Wes Garrison, as we were looking?
Basically everything. They took us by the hand. We didn't know anything about closing a deal with the house. We've been with a lot of people, and you guys were a godsend. You helped us out with everything and made it all so simple. And I appreciate everything you did for us, and keep doing after we had the house, we had the closing and everything. You worked throughout everything and gave it to us straight, without any running around. You just gave it to us straight, and I really appreciate that, because like I said, we had no clue what we were expecting. I'm glad we had someone like you on our side.
A lot of people are saying, well, why use God? What do we remember?
I think the thing I remember most is how proactive you were with keeping in touch with me and letting me know what was going on with the offers that we were getting. I hear a lot of people complain that they never hear from their realtor, and that was never a problem. That wasn't even a concern for me, because I knew that you were going to let me know what was going on and keep me apprised of everything.
And in that market, I remember we had a couple of those like really low offers where we're like, we're not taking this.
Yes,
we're just not doing this.
And we talked at length about it. You made some really good recommendations, so that I had a more informed. I was more informed on how I should go with that.
Cameron, you and I got a chance to work together to buy a house in Deltona recently, correct?
Correct.
And you were just giving me such a great review verbally. I wondered if you'd take a minute and just tell me a little bit about your experience, kind of what happened, how we met, and what it was like to work with me.
I asked for information online through Zillow.
Yeah.
And Scott contacted me, and immediately we were out looking for homes, trying to find something that at the level I wanted, but it turned out that what I really wanted was something of a higher level. I'm very, very happy with.
Awesome.
And the process that he helped me get through with inspections and everything through his contacts and connections was wonderful, friendly people.
Just the other day we had a home that was on the market, another agent for 6 weeks. We put it on the market, we raised the price, and in 7 days I had multiple offers, and we sold it for $15,000 over asking price. Same house, same everything, we raised the price. And it's because of the attention to detail, the organization, the marketing and things like that.
I have always seen you in a nice, not too dressed up, so you're not too unapproachable, but approachable, professional realtor shirt. You've got your name tag, identifies who you are and what you're doing. I have a lot of realtors sometimes that'll show up, and I've had a couple show up in flip-flops and things like that, and the clients have actually mentioned it. And everybody's different how they do things, but what I do like is your professionalism, the attention to detail, and the fact that you make sure that we are on the same page as you and your client.
The thing was getting to know them, and them getting to know us a little bit, and everything, our questions were answered. It was smooth, comfortable, and they knew what they were doing. They led us through the whole process.
Thank you.
Text or call, and always kept us in the loop, which is really important considering we're first-time home buyers. So,
being first-time home buyers, we're relatively new, or really new to this whole experience. So, drawing on your experience with selling homes was a big benefit to us, I think, and as well as your experience in construction as well. And you were very honest, which is something I appreciate a lot. There's a number of houses we saw where you pointed things out to us that we wouldn't have even thought to look at. Just it's a positive experience all around.
What were some of the great things about working with Scott and selling your house?
You're fast.
Very fast.
What they sold in a month?
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
He had no problems going out late after work, going out till 6, 7 o'clock. Very responsive on the phone, text, emails. He basically explained everything that we needed to know up front. There was nothing hidden. I just think they did an overall good job.
And I agree with that.
I would say that you always seem to stay on top of everything and seem to anticipate everything in advance, and it all went very smoothly.
Would you recommend us to your friends and for future use?
Very definitely.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Trustworthy, easy. He made the whole process super simple, and that was wonderful for both of us, considering I've never, bought a house before, and this was a new thing for all.
The
fact that every time I called you guys asking questions, you were open to answer every single question and take the time to do it.
Going forward in the future, would you recommend us to
Yeah,
other
definitely.
people? All right, well, great.
Well, you work real hard to help us out.
Pushed everything through fast for us as we needed.
Closing in time and making sure that we
Kept
were
in
able
touch.
to.
Yeah, we had great communication. We
Worked hard for us, yes.
we did, and it was a lot of fun. We really, really appreciate it. Would you recommend us to your friends if you ever came up?
We've worked on 3 showings altogether.
Okay, perfect. And they've all been you selling the property, right?
Yeah, me selling 3 properties, and I've used Scott for all 3 of those properties.
And we've had some adventures. One of them was one needed repairs, and one of them was a tenant-occupied one.
Absolutely.
And we had to get like 80 showings to get that one finally sold, right?
Yes, absolutely. And Scott was willing to go the extra mile for me, and I certainly appreciate that.
Total professionalism. He did everything right, was approachable. I couldn't recommend this guy high enough. They get the job done and they got it done quick. They actually got it above the asking price.
Would you recommend us to your friends and family? And
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
all right, good. We're definitely. What was it that you liked working with me and my brother Scott Garrison?
You guys were you were very attentive. I mean, every question I had, you were answered. You were upfront, honest about things. I felt so. I would say that was probably the biggest part. Realistic expectations.
For sure.
Giving me the straight and narrow, right? When things were a little rocky. So home buying process is clearly a roller coaster. So
Yes, it is.
Or it can be, right? So.
Well, I feel like you listened to us and took us to see things that we were interested in versus having a long run around of things. And you did everything that you said you were going to do and follow up on, which was great. It was great working with you. It made it very easy, and you sent us to all the right people.
Would you recommend us to your friends and family?
Absolutely.
Most
I sure would.
definitely.
Yes.
All right.
And look, yeah, everything worked out. We closed the deal. We found the place that I really like, not just like any place. He worked with me to find what I like.
Just how detailed you are and how attentive you are in anything we needed. Any houses we wanted to see, scheduling issues, we cleared those up right away. It was a pleasure. It's a pleasure to do business.
Going forward, would you refer my brother and I to your friends and family for Realtor?
Absolutely.
Well, you all kept us advised and informed and up to date on daily workings of what was going on. You told us up front what to expect and how you were going to run the campaign on this sale, and you kept true to your word. A few little hiccups along the way, no fault of yours, that you got right on top of and got it back in order, and the sale went really quick, and I was just absolutely shocked and elated that it went as well as it did, and I thank you both.
Very easy to work with them. They always kept in contact. Whenever I needed, I could text either of them and the people that they work with. So I was very pleased with that experience. Very nice and easygoing. Great personalities, kind of made it seem a little easier to take on responsibilities and kind of check things out.
So moving forward, would you refer the Garrison brothers to your friends and family?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, basically, they're very patient. We've been going through the process for quite some time, and it was always easy to communicate things with them. And what I appreciated the most is they were always straightforward. They didn't really hide anything or anything like that. Everything was very transparent, and that's what I appreciated the most.
Good.
Yes, you guys were very honest with us and very helpful, and you guys helped us find our forever home.
Moving forward, would you feel confident in referring us to your friends and family?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think the first thing is that you want someone responsive. I mean, we're 3,000 miles away when we started this process, and we had questions and wanted to make sure that we got the answers we needed. And every time we called, Wes was there to answer, whether it was phone call, email, really great to work with.
Always there.
Yeah, that's very important when you're 3,000 miles away or 5 miles away. Responsiveness is
super easy. A lot of communication. We didn't really have to do a whole lot of work on our part.
The best part was we just basically signed our documents and communicated, and that was pretty much.
So would you recommend Scott and I, the Garrison brothers, to work with your friends and family?
Of course.
I get an email from you on a really regular basis, just keeping me updated on the state of the market in the area. I love looking through those because you have all kinds of facts and figures and tips on what's going on. I get a phone call from you every now and then, so letting me know again that, thanking me for my business, if I have anybody that I know, that I can send your way. So that, keeps you top of mind for me.
Perfect. I think we actually had enough contracts to consider after about day 9, right?
Yes.
So we were thinking about selling your home for one price. We and then we were thinking, maybe we could get up here. We were probably thinking here. And in 10 days, we had about 20 or 23 showings, right?
Exactly.
We had a couple of people fighting over the house.
Which was wonderful.
And in the end, we sold your place. I think it was for full price, right?
I think it was
above full price. There we go. And so what happens is when I get more than one person who's interested in the house, we tell them all they're competing, and people do what they're going to do. Somebody comes in with a good offer, right?
It was a very good offer.
And when someone came with a good offer, we got a full price cash offer with a 3-day inspection, and they just said, "We'll take the house. We just want," which is exactly what you were looking for.
Yeah.
So
it couldn't have been any better than
so
that.
the difference between kind of what we were hoping to get and the over full price offer was about 10 times the cost or 20 times the cost of the extended stay, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we made a fortune, like tens of thousands of dollars more.
Yeah, we checked out several more, and I finally said, "Oh well, let's try something a little higher in price," and we did, and right off the bat, bam.
Good, and one of the things that I did is when you find on Zillow, which everyone in America looks through, but I actually sent you I created a little custom mini website for you, right, of properties that were what you wanted. And mostly, I think you did still look online, but mostly you looked on that because this was a little more targeted, and you could go in and just click on one link and see all the properties that were available as of today.
Right, and more up-to-date details.
More details for sure, and they were really available. They weren't like maybe available or didn't have a story. They were ones we actually saw.
Really had the right information necessary.
I think what makes you different is you are very efficient and very knowledgeable about business. You've taught me things about land trust, and you have trusted me with your clients. I think that there are too few realtors these days that have the same ethics as you and I both have, and which is why I think that we work together good, because we know that if we give each other a client, it's going to be a reliable referral.
I agree.
So I admire your organization skills, which I'm weak on. So
I love to say I'm the most organized person I know. Is there anything that you've seen, how I interact with clients or how we are with the clients when they see those big things that they feel they can be like really stressful all of a sudden? It's got polybutyl piping or thousands of dollars of termite damage in the attic or something?
Yeah, and a lot of that comes back to your experience in being in what your industry and doing what you do for as long as you have. Polybutylene piping, for example, is a pipe that insurance companies are not particularly happy with. They don't use it anymore. And over time, people repipe, and things move on. But you're really good at grabbing a client, especially if they are taken back by something like that, because they've heard it from a friend who's heard it from a friend about how bad things are, and you are able to take them and redirect them into.
That's probably our 7th transaction together. The last how long?
9 years.
That's a long time. So I've helped you buy some, and I've helped you sell some. And we were just talking about how when we start off, it doesn't seem like as big of a enterprise as it is at the end. By the time you get to closing, you look back at all the things you had to do, right?
That's true, yeah. It's all the little details that have to be done. So.
And would you consider yourself an investor? You have an awful lot of rentals still, right?
Yeah, I'm a small investor. Yeah. So,
good. And right now you were selling one of your rental properties now.
Yes.
Any plans to buy any more?
I'm sure I will be, but I'm not sure about it right now, but at some point, yeah.
At the Oviedo on the park, the one that you guys were sponsoring, and honestly, it was like a 5-minute conversation. Next thing you know, we linked up on that Monday, and we're here today. It was actually great. You guys were actually on point. very knowledgeable,
very friendly.
very friendly. We got the house in 31 days. We saw the house on, what was it, on the 4th, and we closed today.
They had great recommendations, so the process was very smooth.
Yeah, it was actually painless and hassle-free. Straight to the point. Negotiating was, we got it done in one day, and honestly, I couldn't ask for a better experience.
Scott Garrison was very informative, very smart. He's good at his craft. He let me know everything I needed to know about the property before even looking at it. I definitely recommend him, yes. He was really good, really nice. Yeah. Other people should choose Scott as their realtor.
Sí, me encantó, me pareció que muy amable, nos ayudó mucho en la venta de nuestra casa. La pudimos vender muy rápido y al precio que queríamos. Siempre estuvo al pendiente, cada vez que la llamaba o la contrataba me contestaba inmediatamente, contestaba todas mis preguntas y de verdad que la recomiendo a otra persona que vaya a vender o a comprar. Me parece que es una persona con mucho conocimiento en este mundo del real estate.
Igual que ella, estamos iguales, sí. Bueno, de todas maneras, ella era la que se entendía con todo y...
Muy bien, estamos muy felices, estamos muy agradecidos con Scott y Diana que tuvieron paciencia con nosotros, que nos ayudaron a escoger la mejor opción, lo que buscábamos. Claro que sí, 100%. Muchas gracias por el servicio, por la compañía y la asesoría que nos brindaron este tiempo.
Me parece, primero que todo, en el idioma nos sirvió bastante porque es más confiable en el idioma nativo. Segundo, porque son personas que realmente están trabajando para que sus compradores o sus vendedores tengan el mejor negocio y porque son personas bastante confiables.
Listen to Scott, be prepared to be gone from your house at a moment's notice. I have a dog, a big dog, so I had him in daycare those first couple of weeks, just so I wouldn't have to stress him out. And the biggest one was Saturday.
Which was about day 3 or 4.
We had like so 8 showings, and Max wasn't going to daycare, so Scott said leave the house, and I thought, where am I going to go? Well, like 8 hours.
Bueno, nosotros muy agradecidos por el trabajo. Lo recomendamos, son muy profesionales en su trabajo. Lejos de un negocio, casi se hace como una relación de familia, compartir con ustedes. Muchísimas gracias por esto. Maravillosas atenciones.
Volveremos a usar.
Sí, volveremos a comprar o a vender, pero con Scott y con Diana.
Number one word I would use to describe Scott is his tenacity and being able to get whoever he's working with the deal that they want, whether it be a buyer or a seller. He's very tenacious and very detailed about going after what that particular client wants, and he won't settle for less. And he's been that way with me on all 3 properties that I've dealt with him on. He's gone that extra mile to make sure he's done the extra showings, done whatever it takes to get me the deal I wanted, and I've been very, very satisfied with his professionalism and his ability to do so.
Awesome, and we got your home sold pretty quickly, about 60 days or so, is that right?
Yep. Yes.
We got you close. So we actually had a couple of offers on the property that didn't work out at first, right?
Yes.
I remember we had one and they went to contract and then they changed their mind like 2 days later. I remember you were pretty disappointed about that, remember?
Then you re-enlisted, right? You put it back,
Got it back
on the
on,
market?
and within a week we had an offer
Within a week, yes.
for $4,000 more.
Exactly.
And so it actually worked out really good when it didn't work, because now we just got paid today, $4,000 more at closing.
Very approachable, very friendly, willing to answer all the questions we had as first-time homeowners. Like, it was so important to us to have someone walk us through each step of the way. That's exactly what.
All the things we would have had absolutely no idea about, there's no way we would have been able to traverse that, not a chance.
For sure.
It was a huge, huge help. Honestly, I can't thank him enough.
Well, it was for a while. I wasn't sure when I needed to sell the house. Life circumstances, different things were coming up. But then finally, when the time was right, I said, Scott, it's go time.
So we had some things we needed to do. There was some replumbing.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Like I had those pipes that you have to get, the newer pipes put in. Otherwise, you can't even sell it and you can't insure it. So I'm like, okay, finally. So I got that done.
And then there was a roof issue too, wasn't there?
Well, I had redone the roof 2 years prior to the sale, but it has the prettiest, nicest roof. Insurance helped with that. And just a lot of projects around the house. I replaced the fence in the back because that was looking old, and I wanted it to be attractive to people that came in. I don't want people to point their finger at things that don't look good. I'm like, well, let's make it as nice as I can afford to make it, and it still makes sense. And so in the end, I did some of that work, and some of my family helped me do that. And I got the house painted, so it looks nice from the outside.
Thank you so much. You've went like extra step with everything, with talking to lenders, to really helping me with answering all the questions, meeting. Oh my goodness, like if you guys watching this, please really contact them, trust them. Like I don't know how I really met them, but the whole experience was beautiful and we got everything done. We've seen so many properties. He was patient, he was smart, giving advices, giving tips. I mean, like anything, I really like, this is my guy. I'll be using him all the time. I'll be recommending to everybody, and it's beautiful to have people like this. So please call them now.
Working with Scott, he make us to be, he's an awesome guy to work with, and I hope that we can able to do more business in the future to come. That's it for now. I can't ask it better, so there's nothing better than that, right? So I can give him all the benefit of the doubt. He is the man who can take care of everything. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So this most recent one was in Celebration, right?
Yeah, this has probably been the best experience. All of them were good, but this one's been phenomenal.
What made it phenomenal?
You!
Okay, thanks.
You're reliable. You do what you say when you say you're going to do it. You think of the details that everybody cannot anticipate, because I've worked with other realtors and there was always something forgotten, something lost, some detail. You never forget the details.
That's my thing. I remember I never ran out of toothpaste. I always have everything, right? Okay, good.
And I just want to express my appreciation, how much I love working with you, and you always make it come out good and even better than I anticipate.
I appreciate that. Thanks. You got a big check to.
Scott contacted me, and immediately we were out looking for homes, trying to find something that is at the level I wanted. I'm very, very happy with. Awesome. And the process that he helped me get through with inspections and everything through his contacts and connections was wonderful, saved me money, and made his part of this very, very smooth.
For sure.
Wonderful experience.
Yeah, and he referred you a really good roofer who you happen to know. Did you get several quotes from different insurance agents? And then all through the process, you did a walkthrough a couple times, and I did make it easy for you to get into the property whenever you needed to.
A lot of that comes back to your experience in being in your industry and doing what you do for as long as you have. Polybutylene piping, for example, is a pipe that insurance companies are not particularly happy with. They don't use it anymore. And over time, people repipe, and things move on. But you're really good at grabbing the client, especially if they are taken back by something like that, because they've heard it from a friend who's heard it from a friend about how bad things are, and you are able to take them and redirect them into, okay, that makes sense. Bite-sized chunks.
The advantage of that is that I have rental property, so I've had all these things happen not only to my house but to rental property, and I've flipped houses too, where you get a house that's in horrible shape, go to fix it up. So most of the things that you mentioned, while I haven't actually done it myself, I've dealt with. I know it's not a big deal. I usually know someone that you can call to fix it, and it seems to make a big difference in the client's satisfaction with you.
Is there anything that somebody were thinking about hiring me? A lot of my clients come from people who've never met me. They're from out of state, out of the country. Is there anything that they should ask, or anything you think they should know if they're thinking about hiring me that would make a difference over other agents?
Just that you put all the, your effort into this. You're not like doing this halfway. You understand how to do these deals and get them through. So, and you know, all the pitfalls that will come up, and you know, how to stage the property and whatnot.
A year ago, I went up to Louisville, Kentucky, where my son lives, and started thinking about moving up there. That was in October, and end of October. So I started looking online in November for a realtor and found Scott and made a contact with him. And he came out to the house, brought all his knowledge and recommendations. And that was November 2022. And I knew I wasn't going to do anything until after the first of the year. And so in January, I started getting really serious about it, cleaning out, organizing. And then I hit a wall and said, I'm not ready to do this. But the whole time, Scott never, ever, ever stopped contacting me. At least once a month, I'd get a phone call or a text or an email. I'm here, ready to go.
Number one, they should have no concerns. They should just take a chance on Scott Garrison because you're the greatest. And that sounds like hyperbole, but it's really not. It's the experience I've had with you has always been controlled, professional, and in most cases joyful.
And so, what made you decide to call me when you wanted to sell your home here 4 or 5 years later?
Because you know exactly what I want with all the information I gave you, and you send information, gave me that pertained to what I really wanted.
So we're at the closing now, and you notice it's just Jason and I, and that's something that we do in order to decrease the stress for the sellers. We have the big formal closing where everyone takes a shower and they all dress up and we all wear our tie and we're here all day. Instead of that, we have the buyers come in at a different time. And Jason came in early. We're actually a day before closing here. So he's all done, and the whole process probably took 15 or 20 minutes, and most of that was us just chatting.
Yeah, it was easy.
You've went like extra step with everything, with talking to lenders, to really helping me with answering all the questions. We've seen so many properties. He was patient, he was smart, giving advice. I mean, like anything. I really this is my guy. I'll be using him all the time.
Working with Scott, he make us to be. He's an awesome guy to work with, and I have hopes that we can able to do more business in the future to come. That's it for now. I can't ask it better, so there's nothing better than that. So I can give him all the benefit of the doubt. He is the man who can take care of everything. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So the actual closing part was been pretty quick, right? It was like 10 or 15 minutes?
Yes.
It was 10 or 15 minutes?
Yes.
He came here, signed some papers, and they're sending the money to your bank account right now.
Yeah.
So everybody wins.
And so when we finally found a house, we did come in a little bit over full price, right? Yes, we did, originally. Right. And that's always a concern for people when we first hear that. They're like, what? We were full price? So then we ended up getting it for pretty much asking price anyway, but we got our contract accepted against a couple others that we were competing with at that time. But even in the end, you were just saying that your payment ended up actually being less than what you were thinking, right? And your cash to close was less than what you were thinking also. Awesome. This is kind of a loaded question, but what have you noticed about how I interact with my clients, how my clients are satisfied with my service, what makes me different, a reason to use me from your end when we're just standing out there on the building inspection?
And when we were talking, I was thinking, what do I like best about Scott? And here's what I like best about working with Scott Garrison. He's very straightforward with the clients and with us. He makes sure that everyone is included in the loop of what's going on. So there's no question of how are we getting in? Do we have the address for the client? Do we have the phone number for the client? Is the name spelled correctly? Small things that most people take for granted. I've seen consistently where you've got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and if something hasn't come back that requires a response back in a timely manner, you're asking questions as to why.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what is it that, why do you keep calling me back?
Because you don't make mistakes. You catch everything. Everything is organized. I don't have to worry about things being done improperly. You know how to market the property correctly to get people. So there's never any, if there's an issue, you always catch it. So
That sounds awesome.
I had hit my wall and I'm thinking, I can't do this. But yes, it was just putting one foot in front of the other each day. And this is the result.
Here we are,
Yep.
payday.
And that was, again, because you updated me almost daily, I always knew where we stood and where the buyer stood. And so it was a very comfortable period. I wasn't worried, and I knew you were taking care of things, and if you needed me, you'd call.
That's my thing. So when you showed up at closing day, you basically showed up. The actual closing part was been pretty quick, right? You came here, signed some papers, and they're sending the money to your bank account right now.
Yeah, you're every time I call you, you would answer. You would send me email, text, so I'm well informed of what's going on. So yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Just there's a lot more to do. So Scott said, let's go to the 10 days and just see if we can find our buyer at a great price quick. And that's what happened. So
Now there's
we
a
had
house
to-
that's on your street that was on, I think, before we started that's still
Yeah.
for sale. Is that right?
Oh yeah, there is one for sure, and they still run people through it, and it's been months, and they have to keep dropping their price. They're a little bit high, but yeah, a lot more people have been in and out of that thing.
Same
mine-
neighborhood, different
yeah.
marketing,
Yeah,
different result.
Yeah.
They're still not
Yeah,
even
so
sold.
I really value how fast my home closed, and the fact that we got our asking price of the first time we put it up. We said, here's the amount we want, and we got it.
There was a lot. Because I can't find any better. And this is the best. And he's the man to deal with. You know? He's the best of the best. There is no more best than this.
Pleasure working with him every single time.
And he's a prime guy. He always stay on top of the button. That's the kind of guy I like to work with. I mean, I don't want other people who I got to chase them around. I had other realtor, but I can't find none like him. He's one of the top best. That's why our relationship is this long and this strong and been for such a long time, because it's good. And I can tell you viewers out there, whoever could be looking, there is nothing but the best. Come to him. He's the man. Scott Garrison. Here we go.
We had a house that had some challenges because of some insurance issues, right? But we also knew we were going to price it in a way we were going to get a lot of crazy investors to look at it, right? So we got a lot of people to look at it. So what we did is we did, I think, 9 or 10 days where we did not accept offers and we showed the house.
Right.
And we had so many showings. What did you do?
I moved out of the house.
And you got- where did you live? Where did you go?
Actually, I went to an extended stay and did a field trip for a family reunion and had fun while I was out of the house.
And at first it seemed like a hassle because you think,
Yeah.
gosh, we're going to an extended stay, right? But our marketing period was supposed to be 10 days, and I think
Right.
we actually had enough contracts to consider after about day 9, right?
Yes.
So we were thinking about selling your home for one price. We were kind of, and then we were thinking, maybe we could get up here. We were probably thinking here. And in 10 days, we had about 20 or 23 showings, right? We had
Exactly.
a couple of people fighting over the house. And
Which
in the-
was wonderful.
And in the end, we sold your place.
And that's what allows us to get way over what we should get. I remember about that 5th or 6th day, you were kind of up to here. I remember with the
I was
showings.
like, I don't think I can do this, but you
Which
just
is natural when you have 8 people look at your house in one day.
and you're in and out, and you're in and out, and but yes, whatever Scott says and recommends, I highly recommend that you listen to him because he knows what he's doing and he gets the results that you beyond your dreams.
So when you showed up at closing day, you basically showed up. The actual closing part was been pretty quick, right? It was only like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes.
It was 10 or 15 minutes. You came here, signed some papers, and they're sending the money to your bank account right now.
Yeah.
Everybody wins. Is there anything else that you think someone else might have a concern or someone else should know if they're thinking about hiring me?
Oh gosh. Number one, they should have no concerns. They should just take a chance on Scott Garrison because you're the greatest. And that sounds like hyperbole, but it's really not. It's the experience I've had with you has always been controlled, professional, and in most cases joyful.
There we go. And we got a big check at the end. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
One thing I really like is you see these people where they'll do an open house and they'll put the cookies and the banners and come in and look, and they'll have a lot of people in and out. there's been a house or two like that in my neighborhood.
On your street?
But on my street. But Scott, when he said, let's do the marketing period, let's see how many people we can run and get interested in. And I didn't have to be there. It's there's a lockbox and a key, and their realtor can come in, access the box. It asks for permission first, where they can ask you, hey, is it okay if we're there at 4? And you just hit a button on your phone. Sure, come on in.
So everybody knew.
Yeah, and you don't have to be home or anything. It's probably better if you're not. And then so the showings happen, and they come as needed, and really only the really interested people are going to show up. So I mean, there are people in those open houses that just want cookies and want to look at sites, but I didn't have to do that.
Number one, they should have no concerns. They should just take a chance on Scott Garrison because you're the greatest. And that sounds like hyperbole, but it's really not. The experience I've had with you has always been controlled, professional, and in most cases joyful.
And we got a big check at the end. Thanks so much.
What I strive to do in an ideal situation is create an auction-like environment around the house. So when you've got 8 buyers seeing the house all on Saturday afternoon, they're running into each other, they're seeing each other, they're looking, oh my gosh, it creates that sense of scarcity, which you're hiring me as your listing agent to do, and that's what allows us to get way over what we should get. I remember about that 5th or 6th day, you were kind of up to here. I remember with the
I
show.
was like, I don't think I can do this, but
Which is natural when you have 8 people look at your house in one day.
And you're in and out, and but yes, whatever Scott says and recommends, I highly recommend that you listen to him because he knows what he's doing and he gets the results that you beyond your dreams.
Tell me about the contract at closing. How did that go after the contract all the way to today? I know you were all stressed out cleaning the house out today, getting ready for the buyers.
Well, of course, that's it. Everybody's got to do that. But the paperwork, the contract, the closing, it was really straightforward. Like in advance, I got sent a copy of the closing documents and knew everything about every number that was in there. So I was aware before I came in to sign. And the actual process of closing was really easy. We went over the forms and signed a whole bunch of signatures like you always have to do. And it was great. So I went from cleaning and getting the house ready to turn over to the new owner, which is a lot of stress. And then I got to the closing, all the stress went away, and the last signature on the line made it all happen. So now I've got a good amount, in my case, a good amount of equity came out of the home. The value has gone up since I've owned it, and that's a very good thing.
All tax-free.
Good situation to be in.
All tax-free.
Yeah, exactly.
What was your experience from contract to closing? Was there much that you needed to do once we went under contract?
Well, actually, from contract to closing was not more than 10 days. And that was, again, because you updated me almost daily, I always knew where we stood and where the buyer stood. And so it was a very comfortable period. I wasn't worried, and I knew you were taking care of things, and if you needed me, you'd call. If you didn't need me, you took care of it.
That's my thing. I just took care of it all. So when you showed up at closing day, you basically showed up. The actual closing part was been pretty quick, right? It was like 10 or 15 minutes?
Yes.
It was 10 or 15 minutes?
Yes.
You came here, signed some papers, and they're sending the money to your bank account right now.
Yeah.
So everybody wins.
And he came out to the house, brought all his knowledge and recommendations, and that was November 2022.
It's open, yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to do anything until after the first of the year. And so in January, I started getting really serious about it, cleaning out, organizing, and then I hit a wall and said, I'm not ready to do this. But the whole time, Scott never, ever, ever stopped contacting me.
Nope.
At least once a month, I'd get a phone call or a text or an email. I'm here, ready to go. And sometimes I would answer him, and sometimes I wouldn't. And sometimes I would just say, not ready to make a decision. I'll let you know when. But you never forgot me.
And it's great. So I'm all done. I had a fast, easy closing. My realtor Scott got me asking price quickly, and I'm just really happy. So I highly recommend the process with Mr. Garrison here. So if you need a great realtor, you're looking at him right here.
That sounds great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah,
Anything
you're
else?
welcome. Thank
Anything
you.
else?
But I got more than the cost of my commission, just an extra over market value, and then I kept going. So, and then we have to, of course, have an appraisal. My job is to make sure that the property appraises, because if it appraised, we'd have to come back down to whatever it appraised to, and we got it appraised.
Yep.
So we're right here at closing right now. She's ready to go.